And now, live, America's foremost audience participation talk show, Montague. And here's your host, Phil Montague.
Thank you. Before we start today's show, I'd like to, if I could, take a survey of the audience here. Could you please indicate, by your applause, which of the following statements you would agree with? First, I feel that I have as much of a sense of humor as the next guy, but with comedy, as with anything else, it has a time and a place. All right. How about the statement, anything for a laugh? All right, I have an advertisement here that's been clipped out of the back of a national tabloid that reads in part, "Fatal can be fun. Lethal practical jokes performed for reasonable fees." Then there's a number here to call for more information. At the bottom of the ad, it states in bold type, "He who laughs last, laughs best." Now meet Mr. Clyde Bowers. Mr. Bowers would have you know that he feels that anything that makes you laugh is funny. And in fact, the more serious the consequences, the funnier the joke. Mr. Bowers is a lethal practical joker. Mr. Bowers, could you tell us a little more about what it is you do?
Glad to, Phil. I, like most people, love a good laugh at other people's expense. Only I make sure it's a good laugh by making sure my fall guy, that's the technical term, that he buys it and buys it big.
All right, so we're talking about what? The banana peel on the sidewalk, the pie in the face.
Exactly, Phil. But this time, let's take that same pie and insert a live hand grenade. Now we're talking funny. Real funny.
All right, so then if I'm hearing you correctly, the difference between you and some regular practical joker is that with you, someone could get hurt. They could die.
No, not could die, got to die. That's really the beauty of it.
Well, I guess that's in the eye of the beholder. But in the meantime, our topic today, lethal practical jokes. Our guest, Mr. Clyde Bowers. We hope you'll stay with us. Now, Clyde, could you give us a few examples of what it is you do?
Glad to, Phil. One of my favorites is the old laughing gas in the diving tank routine, you know? The diver gets down there about 100 feet or so and just laughs himself to death. It's hilarious. Gets all bug-eyed, bubbles everywhere. The fish love it, too. It's a great way to go. Another one's kind of cute is the old nitroglycerin in the whoopee cushion, you know? Boom! Quite an eruption as well as a surprise. You talk about your nuclear waste, Phil.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a problem, but Clyde, do you actually laugh at these things?
Oh, yeah, it's a natural fact. People love to laugh at the misfortunes of others.
But Clyde, why kill people?
Because it's the ultimate. It's the ultimate. Comedy has always been used to put people in their place. And where's their ultimate place? 6 feet under. And that's where I put them.
Well, how do you go about choosing these, targets here?
Well, you know, it's a lot easier than you might think, Phil. Potential victims are everywhere. The rude waitress that won't give you a second cup of coffee, the guy with the Trans Am that takes up 2 parking places, or just some yahoo that insults your intelligence.
But now you would actually kill someone for just one slip-up?
You bet your life, Phil.
Well, Clyde, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, well, how could you... Do you have any friends?
Well, sure. Just a couple years ago, my neighbor, Ed Beasley, he lent me his lawnmower.
No, Clyde, I'm not talking about lending someone your lawnmower here. I'm talking about personal relationships, human interaction. Now, if people can't trust you, then how could there be any friendship? Trust is an essential to any relationship. Now, if we can't trust our neighbors, then who can we trust? I think we're left with a cold, impersonal society. Is the caller there?
I just want to agree with what you're saying, Phil. I live in Mr. Bauer's neighborhood, and I have to tell you it's the most depressing, frightening situation imaginable. My family and I are literally hostages in our own home. My kids haven't been out in the yard for 2 years. Well, no one in the neighborhood trusts him, except for the late Ed Beasley.
Is this Bob Hogan?
Well,
it is, isn't it?
Now, what did he just make your list there?
Well, let's just say if I was him, I wouldn't use my water pick this week.
But now, listen, Clyde. Now, wouldn't you agree that that's the hurting people and maybe even killing them for fun that it degrades or at least lowers the value of life itself?
Well, sure, if you believe that a man's life has value, and I don't believe all that. I mean, this whole concept of an imaginary God and some preordained purpose for man, and nah. My philosophy is eat, drink, and be merry for, how's that go? Oh, tomorrow we die, especially in my neighborhood.
I'm glad I don't live in your neighborhood. Ronnie, we're running out of time. You want to have that last call?
Yes, Mr. Bowers.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, doesn't your conscience bother you?
Oh, no, not at all. I don't think there's anything wrong with what I believe.
But where do you get these beliefs? I mean, what's right and what's wrong? Do we believe the Bible, or do we believe mythology, or fairy tales, or even cosmopolitan?
Well, that's a good point. You know, I believe that you have to get your philosophy from a lot of different sources. Lately, you know, I've been getting a lot from Top 40 Radio. This whole Michael Jackson thing, Beat It. Now that's good stuff. And those other fellas, what is it? Oh, Whip It. And how do they whip it? They whip it good.
Well, regardless of all that, Mr. Bowers, we're really out of time. We want to thank you for being here,
sir.
for your
Thank
time this afternoon. And we want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your questions and your opinions.
You've been watching The Phil Montague Show, brought to you by Miss Clearhold Hairspray, Hairspray of the Stars. Marlo uses it, and so does Phil.